Hello lovelies, Kirsten here. Today I have something for you that I figured out along my little journeys. So today I have 21 tips for eating out and socializing with SIBO, IBS or food intolerances. So little things that you can do that can help you stay on track with your gut healing journey without feeling ashamed or without feeling like you're broken or without feeling like you're missing out, because FOMO is real. I was really ashamed. So that was one of my things. It's not everyone's. I've got clients that I tell them what to do and they go off and do it and they don't care what anyone else thinks. That's amazing. I kind of did care what other people thought. So as much as I could feel like I was normal, I felt a little bit better. And it's nice. Part of dealing with like an illness or a disease or something, it's important to remember you are not your disease. You are not your illness. You are not whatever you're going through. It's just something that you have. So I would always try and find ways that people didn't realize how sick I was or didn't realize that I was funny with food because I didn't want to get the eye rolls and I didn't want to get the judgment. Maybe that kicked off. I don't like to blame people, but I've got a very vivid memory of my granddad calling me a guzzle guts when I was like 7 years old. And I think that's when I first maybe started to develop shame around food and shame around how I wanted to eat or shame how I needed to eat to feel better. Because I probably had digestive issues coming out of the bloody womb most of my life until about the age of 28. I didn't know what it felt like to eat without getting bloated. And when I talk about bloated, I feel like that heavy, full feeling and the tummy puffs out. That's not really meant to happen. We can totally feel full if we overeat, but it should kind of look the same. Enough about me, let's help you. So, I'm going to start off with tip number 1. Try to be aware, but also try not to obsess. So being aware of what you're doing, have a plan, try to stick to it, but then try and forget about it as much as possible. Don't let it take over your life like it took over mine. I ended up getting really isolated because it's like, no, I just need to fix this. You can't talk to me, don't distract me. But if I'd known about the tips I'm going to share with you, it probably would have been a lot easier. So then tip number 2 that I'm going to give you is to get your food lists. So if you're working with a practitioner, if it's a naturopath, a dietitian, or a nutritionist, or a doctor, whoever it is, hopefully they will have given you some guidelines on what you should and shouldn't be eating at this moment to be healing up your digestive system. If they've given it to you via email or on your phone or whatever it is, open it up on your phone and take a screenshot so you've got a photo of it handy for when you go out and about. And if they have just written on some paper, just take a photo, same. And then you can have that to refer to against the menu. Similar thing, tip number 3, is to download the Monash FODMAP app. So Monash is the university that designed the FODMAP diet along with Dr. Sue Shepherd. Super cool. So sometimes with SIBO you're going to need to be a little bit even more restricted than this FODMAP app. But if you've got say whatever food list that you've got, I often use the biphasic diet by Dr. Narella Jacoby with my clients. It's really low in inflammation, it's really healing foods, and it's also low in FODMAPs. But say it is something that's not listed in the yes, no, maybe column, and you want to know about it, then you can use the FODMAP app, search for your food, because I think it's got almost every food in there, and then you can use that to kind of gauge if it's going to be a good choice or not. So if it comes back with a red light saying, no, that's high FODMAP, maybe don't eat that. But if it's a green light, it's probably going to be okay. Oh, can I put in what number are we on? A 3.1. Just remember that everybody's different. So remember that these food lists are starting points. It's like a little blueprint. But even if it helps 99% of people, what if you're that 1%? So don't take it as gospel. If it says yes on the list, but you eat it and it makes you feel crap, don't eat it. Or if it says no on the list, but you know that it makes you feel good, you can put it back into your diet. It's back to that awareness without obsessing it. Don't say, Kirsten said I can't eat it, so I can't eat it. Well, actually, I wouldn't say that, so that wouldn't be true. I always say, listen to your body. How does it make you feel? If it makes you feel bad, take it out. If it makes you feel good, put it in. And even the ones that make you feel bad, once you heal up your gut some more, you'll likely be able to tolerate. Yum, yum, yum. Number 4. So now that you know the things that you can or maybe shouldn't be eating, I would encourage you to suss out the menus beforehand if you're going out to a restaurant. And there's a really cool app that I like called Zomato. It's like tomato, but with a Z. And I know that it works in multiple countries. Like I've tried it in Indonesia, in Australia, in Denmark, in South Africa. And a lot of the restaurants nearby you will have uploaded their menus. And you can search within a kilometre radius, you can search by cuisine. And it makes it nice so that you can see what type of foods they offer. And then you can check to see if there's something that you can eat. Because if you get to a restaurant and there's nothing you can eat, that's going to be a bit sad. Going into number 5. So if someone extends like an invitation to meet up for lunch or dinner or breakfast, accept the invitation and then get in there first and suggest the restaurant. I used to do that all the time. Well, not all the time, when I figured it out. So if someone said, because in Bali we're so social and it's very cheap to eat out and the food here is amazing. So when someone would say, do you want to catch up for dinner? I'm like, yes, oh, please can we try cinta? And then I would say that because I know that there was lots of clean food there that I really enjoyed, and there'd be stuff that everyone can enjoy, so no one feels awkward. They don't even need to know. Because when I was going through it, I was just saying I was ashamed, so I'd rather didn't have other people knowing what I was going through. It's like I just want to deal with this first and get better, and then I can share it like I'm doing now. Suggest the restaurant first, get in there, be decisive. Number 6, I'm going to run out of fingers. I realize I'm going to go with 21, but number 6. Say you're at the restaurant and you want to order something, but you don't want to draw attention to the fact, because even still, I still get eye rolls when I ask for gluten-free from friends that have known me for multiple years. It still pisses me off, and I still sometimes would rather avoid. Depends on the person. Depends on my mood on the day, actually. If I know them really well, I don't really care, but if it's someone that I don't really know, then I might do this. So say you've ordered a dish that you notice that in the sauce, it's a really garlicky sauce and you don't really do well with garlic. Just order normally, and then you can say, oh, I forgot to ask him something. And then you can go up to the waiter after he's left the table and say, excuse me, do you mind just putting my sauce on the side? Easy peasy. Tip number 7, check out the side dishes on the menu. There's often a lot of goodies on there, like roast veggies. You even make up your own main meal from multiple starters. I do that sometimes, or I order a starter and a couple sides, and that makes up a whole meal. Because they tend to be cleaner and with less of the sauces, because there's lots of stuff hiding in the sauces that we might not want in our little digestive systems. Yum! Number 8. Look for all the gluten-free dishes. So it's really common on the menus nowadays. Just looking for, it's often like a little G in the brackets, and that menu is going to be gluten-free. They tend to be pretty safe. Tip number 9. So swaps, doing little swaps. If you're a coffee girl like myself, you'll find that replacing is much easier than just taking away. So if you told me I can't have any coffee, I'd be like really sad. But say you are a cappuccino girl, maybe, and you can still have your cappuccino, but if you replace the cow's milk with almond milk, or coconut milk, or some other milk alternative that they have. And if they don't have it and you know that beforehand, maybe you can even take your own and ask them, do you mind making it with my almond milk? How could they say no? You're saving them money. And then it also becomes an act of self-love. So I know when the intention I have behind things, or the perception, sometimes it can just take a little bit of a switch, and it changes how you feel about a situation. So if you're going in this thing like, me, I can't have cow's milk, I like cow's milk, then you're probably not going to enjoy your almond milk latte. But if you go in there with like, this is an act of self-love, I know that this is going to make me feel good, and I get to have my coffee, and I get to enjoy the experience, yes, that's really good. And it changes the experience for you. Tip number 10. This is more for like lunch and dinner stuff. Keeping your food simple. So if you eat animal protein like I do, you could, when you go out to a restaurant, things like beef and seafood tend to be the safer bets because they don't have as much marinade on them. So marinades are sauces, like chicken is often marinated with a sauce. What was in the sauce? We probably don't know. And it's already been done, so it's a little bit too late. Keep it simple. Tip number 11. Don't be afraid to tell them that you have allergies. Sure, I did that. I would, and especially living in Bali, which is where I was when I had SIBO, I would say allergic. And I've seen blog posts where people get annoyed and the people that ask for gluten-free that aren't celiac are ruining it for the rest of us. That's a bit selfish, I think. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. If you don't want gluten, you don't have to have gluten. So tell them. And if the waiter, don't be a dick to the waiter, because otherwise they might just ignore you and give you gluten anyway, because they might not be aware of how much it damages you. So a friend of mine has autoimmune hypothyroid, so she cannot have any gluten. If she has one little speck of gluten, it's going to set her health back months. And in terms of setting her health back months, it means low energy, it means poor immune system, it means brain fog, so then she can't really work so hard. Single mum, she needs to work, support her daughter. So that one little waiter that might have been pissed off because someone asked for gluten-free could really fuck up someone's life. So don't be afraid to ask for what you want. It's just a little white lie. Tip number 12, choosing cooked foods over raw foods. So when you're out in the restaurant, choosing well-cooked vegetables over a raw salad is probably going to go down better for a sensitive digestive system, because it makes it easier for us to digest and absorb. In the same sort of strain, if you think of when you're first introducing food to a toddler, their digestive system's very new, very sensitive. So you wouldn't go and give them like a rack of pork ribs with a side salad. You'd probably give them pumpkin soup, pureed pumpkin, pureed banana, those sorts of foods. So if you're healing up your digestive system and it's been sore and inflamed for quite a while, you're probably going to want to go slow with those kind of foods as well. So soups are really nice, well-cooked veggies, steamed veggies. You can order any of those instead of a garden salad. And then lucky number 13, so say you don't even have to go out for dinner, offer to cook. There are so many tasty recipes that you don't have to be on a gut healing journey to enjoy. I've even got one as my little pop-up on my website. If you go there, it's 13 gut healing recipes that everybody will enjoy. And they're really tasty. I've got some in there by Rebecca Coombs. I've got some by Elena from Journey Through SIBO. If you look at Rebecca Coombs of The Healthy Gut, she's got some gourmet recipes. They are really good. So we're on to number 14. Don't go in there starving. Just like we shouldn't be go grocery shopping when we're starving, because otherwise we'll get all the things. If you go in there and you're really, really hungry, but it turns out there's only a little bit of what you can have and more of what you can't have, we don't tend to make the best decisions when we're hungry. It's like, oh fuck, I'm so hungry, I had to eat. So maybe if you know that you're going to like an event with lots of canapes or finger food and you don't really know what's going to be there and you don't really have too much control over what's going to be there, maybe have something nice and substantial or satisfying before you go. So then coming into number 15, and the next 3 are going to be on drinking. So the first one is clear spirits are best. So if you're doing some gut healing, often when I'm working with my SIBO clients or my IBS clients, I often do a bit of rebalancing of the microbiome, especially if I know that there's been a history of gastritis or traveler's diarrhea or food poisoning, or if they've been in developing countries, it's pretty safe to assume there could be some parasites in there. I'm big on getting the parasites out. So while you're trying to do all this one, you want to kind of just stick to clear spirits if you must. So, and ideally not more than 30 mils per week. So in that case, like the better choices would be vodka or gin. So then another little tip, we're on to number 16, is drinking water out of a wine glass, or drinking water out of whatever. So if I'm just walking around with a little wine glass with water in it, especially if it's a little bit dark, people don't know otherwise and they tend to leave you alone. Because I know I started kind of going off alcohol even before I knew I had SIBO, and that was in Australia. Huge drinking culture. And so I would get there like, oh no, I'm fine, thank you. Why? Why aren't you drinking? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you drinking? Why? It's so boring, just have one drink. Kirsten, it's fine, you can have one drink. I'm sure that's not gonna, whatever. And I was like, but I just don't want one. Like, I don't really enjoy the taste, and I really don't enjoy the after effects, because I like to wake up with lots of energy. So it's not that I'm trying to not have alcohol, I just don't really want it. So I learned if I walked around with water in a wine glass, they would leave me alone. And you can also do it with beer bottles, because those are usually green or brown. So you can maybe order your first beer, sneak off to the bathroom, tip it out. It's a little bit of waste, maybe give it to someone else. Just filling it up with water and just keep drinking that. Totally fine. Vodka lime and soda looks just like lime and soda. Nice. Tip number 17, gross them out. If they keep nagging at you, like, oh, just have a drink, oh my God, just have one drink, it's not gonna hurt, then you could just say, look mate, if I have any more drinks, I'm gonna have the runs all day tomorrow. It's gonna get messy, it's gonna get gross. I'm very comfortable talking about bowel motions, but not everybody else is. So if you do that, they might just leave you alone. So now we are on to number 18. So this is just some general stuff. So try, if people are giving you a hard time about your food choices or your drink choices or your food intolerances or whatever it is, try not to react. It might be hard, you might want to punch them in the face, but the more that you can just smile and let it go, the quicker they'll move on to something else. I don't know if anyone grew up with siblings like I did. I have an older brother, and he always used to tease me, and I would burst into tears, I would scream, I would shout, I would die, and so the more that I did that, the more that he enjoyed it. So he would just keep going, and I kind of remember the day that I kind of clicked that if I stop, I was like, I don't really care, then he stopped. Yeah, if someone's giving you a hard time about your food choices, just like shrug it off and then move on. That definitely is true for me with my food and my alcohol now. The alcohol was the first one to kind of come back into that, because as soon as I stopped being so sensitive about people asking me why I'm not drinking, people just accepted it. It's like, oh yeah, no, Kirsten just doesn't drink. Winning. Tip number 19. So if that doesn't work, change the subject. Everybody likes to talk about themselves. Just think of something that that person is going through at the moment and start asking them about that. Get them to talk about themselves and you'll probably be fine. And then we're on to number 20. So digestive enzymes, I talk about them quite a lot and I love them. So if you know that the food's not going to be ideal, take some extra digestive enzymes, because we want to, if the offending food is in there, we want to get it out of the digestive system as quickly as possible so it doesn't do too much damage like inflammation or hurt the mucous membranes, and the digestive enzymes will help this to happen. And then we've got my last one, tip number 21. If all those things that we talked about, and you know what, you just throw it in our bucket and you have whatever you want to eat and it was a bit of a blowout, doesn't matter, try and have a plan for the next day. I'm a huge fan of fasting, and intermittent fasting is fine, so maybe just have a plan to not have breakfast and lunch. That'll give your digestive system a nice little rest, it'll reduce the inflammation, it'll reduce the irritation, and your body will just be able to process everything much better. Animals are very good at doing that. When they're sick or they're unwell, they'll just go and rest, sleep it off. They won't go eating all the time. And I'm going to finish off with the one that I started with. Being aware, but don't obsess. Don't let it control your life. The more that you can still find ways to enjoy life and get amongst everything and forget about all the hard work that you're doing with your gut, the happier it's going to make you. And being aware of your internal, I've got another tip. I've got so many tips, I'm probably going to have to make another video. But I lost my train of thought now because I got so excited. What was I going to say? Oh, I know. If you want to socialize with your friends or family or someone, whatever, try and suggest things that don't have anything to do with food. I love to go surfing. So I love, if I'm doing some sort of cleanse, and I like to keep my cleanses kind of personal until I'm finished, because it's a nice healing time for the body. So I would suggest going surfing. Let's go surfing, because there's no food, you don't need to eat while you're surfing. Or I would suggest going to the spa. We have lovely saunas here and ice bars, so I did that quite a lot. You can't really talk in yoga, but you can do yoga together. Maybe you can have some tea afterwards. You can go for a walk in the park. Yeah. Anything that kind of floats your boat, doesn't involve food, you can suggest those for catch-ups. Going to watch the sunset, that's always a bit nice. So there you go. Those are my top tips for eating out with SIBO, IBS, and food intolerances, or any gut healing journey that you're going through. And just remember, you're not broken, you are not your disease, you are not your condition, you just have something going on at the moment. You're amazing, I believe in you, and if you need any help, just give me a shout. I love it.